His professional career was saved just as his personal life fragmented further. In his Santa Barbara apartment, his assistant, Marin, committed suicide, apparently unhappy that Pike lacked romantic interest in her. The scandal was quickly buried. Shortly thereafter, his 25-year marriage to Esther ended in divorce, leaving him free to openly pursue his relationship with Diane. In September 1967, Pike made perhaps his most controversial news of all, attending a seance televised from Canada with the celebrated medium Arthur Ford. While Ford's voice was reassuring, there was little that proved they were really speaking with Jim.
Jim says he wants you to definitely understand that you, nor any other member of the family, have any right to feel any sense of guilt or have any feeling that you failed him in any way.
A few months later, they visited Ford again. Diane Pike.
The second one, the Philadelphia sitting, was very evidential. We went with specific questions that we wanted to ask to see if we could get detailed information about Jim Jr.'s death, how it had taken place, and what were the circumstances before the death, and many details that we had not been able to find out any other way.
Ford revealed that Jimmy committed suicide due to deep fears about his masculinity. The bishop acknowledged he knew of the fears, a private detail he believed to be unresearchable. After Pike and Diane wrote about the psychic experiences, they were married, sure that they had the tacit approval of the church. They were wrong. Just after the wedding, the next bishop of California, perhaps pressured by the House of Bishops, banned Pike from performing any sacred duties. In essence, he was defrocked. Devastated by this final blow, the bishop and his wife quit the church. A trip to Israel was part of their plan to begin a new life of research and travel. Pike put his affairs in order before he left, even making visits to all his children.
We spent an entire night, the night before going out into the desert, reviewing his life and talking about the parts of his life that he felt were still unfinished, of which there was really only one major one that was in relation to his wife of 25 years. He wrote her a birthday note and mailed it, actually, just as we were leaving the hotel to go out into the desert.
In the wilderness, they had planned to literally walk in Jesus' footsteps. Did Pike in some way feel he might never return? Lost in the desert, Pike grew weaker. They soon agreed Diane had the best chance of getting help and should go on alone. It would be their only hope of survival. For 10 hours, she struggled through deep ravines and up high cliffs, knowing that soon they would face the merciless sun, that neither could survive. The region was uninhabited, except for a small camp of Arab road workers. Near dawn, they heard what they thought was an animal, but soon recognized a woman's voice crying, "Shalom." Diane was safe, but what about Jim? A few hours later, she led a search party to retrace their path. He was not where she had left him. Had he found his way out? Pike had discovered a small spring and pushed on, perhaps fearing Diane needed help. To show he'd been there, he left clothing behind. Ultimately, he was found, but not alive. He had fallen, and his body rested in a kneeling position. There are those who would say that perhaps, in the end, his faith had conquered his doubt.
I suppose the historical role you would label someone like Jim as a prophet. What he was saying was said with such clarity and strength and sometimes abrasiveness that the church felt threatened. I think they couldn't accept him because they knew he was right so often.
Lost civilizations, extraterrestrials, myths and monsters, missing persons, magic and witchcraft, unexplained phenomena. In search of cameras are traveling the world, seeking out these great mysteries. This program was the result of the work of scientists, researchers, and a group of highly skilled technicians.